Hey everyone. A couple of weeks ago I teamed up with one of the world's leading manufacturers of studio reference monitors, Dynaudio, to bring you guys a shootout of two of their top most highly sought after models, the BM12mkIIIs and the BM15A Classics. My role was to run them through the ringer in my studio, doing everything from bass music sound design to mixing, mastering, and recording. And I'm pleased to say that in the time I've had them here, I have been able to thoroughly test drive them. Now, I shot an initial review video, which you can check out by clicking here, which went into all of the nitty-gritty details and specs, a side-by-side comparison, as well as my initial thoughts on the way they sound and performed in my studio. In this video, we're going to focus on my final evaluation, as well as which pair I ended up picking as my ultimate favorites. Now, you're going to want to pay really close attention to this next part. Dynaudio has generously agreed to give away a pair of whichever monitors I choose in this video to my YouTube subscribers and my email list. That means you, by the way. There's a limited amount of time to enter, so make sure you check out the contest details below and sign up before the deadline. You have a really good chance of winning a sick, world-class new pair of studio monitors. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, which pair I chose and why. Let me first caveat that by saying this was an extremely difficult, fun, but extremely difficult decision because these monitors are both so good. Dynaudio is a brand of monitor that you would see sitting in a multi-million-dollar studio in LA, working in film and composition. They go head-to-head with companies like Genelec, Focal, Event, just to name a few. They are about as good as it gets when it comes to the top tier of studio reference monitors. So either pair I selected would have been good. What you're going to get from me today is my own subjective opinion on which one I felt worked better in my specific application. As I've said in previous videos, and for anybody who has been following me for a while, you'll know that I write electronic, bass-oriented music. I'm not writing classical, country, folk, anything like that. So I evaluated these speakers on how they performed with my styles of music, which is very bass-oriented, very hard-hitting. And I also have a home-based studio. It's a small room, it has acoustic treatment as you can see, but it's a small environment and I needed a speaker that would be suited to my room. So my opinions, forthcoming, here we go, will be slanted towards those specific variables that I mentioned. Let's buckle up and get started. The model I picked was, wait for it, the BM12mkIIIs. Let me explain why. The BM12s had more detail in the mid-range. When doing mixdowns, I really found them revealing for things like vocals, snares, toms, and bass hits that had a lot of top-end harmonics. They just had this wonderful, transient, accurate punch to them that I found I really appreciated in my mixdowns. To be fair to the BM15s, they had a lot more bass extension and pure, raw SPL power, and just as exquisite high-end as their little brothers, the BM12s. But with great bass comes great responsibility, and I found they were just overkill for my small-ish mixing environment. I wanted a speaker with good bass extension that was adequate and tight, but also really worked in a near-field setup in my room. And with that in mind, the BM12s came out on top. I think that the BM15s would have been deadly monitors if I'd had a larger room or could use them as midfields, so certainly don't discount them on my behalf. But yeah, the BM12s had to come out on top for me. They're just such a wonderfully balanced monitor. I was able to get hyper-accurate lows, mids, and highs, a great mixing sweet spot, fantastic stereo imaging, and a flat, accurate sound that translates really well to other systems. An extra consideration was the included isoacoustic stands that come with the BM12s. A hugely overlooked mistake I see in a lot of project and home-based studios is acoustically decoupling the speaker from the desk or stand. If you don't do this, you basically turn your desk or stand into a really crappy speaker that produces unwanted, colored sound that rejoins the original signal a millisecond later. And this severely compromises your ability to mix objectively, because you're hearing so much stuff that doesn't come from the speaker. It's reflections off of the other things and vibrations being generated by the surface the speaker's on. The isoacoustic stands act as a shock absorber between the mounting surface and the monitor, giving it a solid footing and making sure that you're only hearing what's coming out of the monitor. Another issue the stands deal with is proper angling of the monitor. I really loved having them with my BM12s because on the stands they were slightly too high and the mixing sweet spot was actually over my head. I was able to use the ISO stands to angle them down just enough so that I was dead center in the mixing sweet spot. So to wrap up, although I don't think you can go wrong by choosing either one of these fantastic studio monitors, it was really the BM12 Mark IIIs that won my heart at the end of the day for producing bass music and in my specific environment application and in my room. I wanted to say a massive shout out to Dynaudio for working with us to bring you this review and also for your incredibly generous offer of the giveaway of a pair of these BM12 Mark IIIs. For those of you watching, do not miss out on this incredible opportunity to level up your studio and win a pair of fresh new world-class monitors. Check out the contest details below and make sure you sign up now. I'm Vespers. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys soon.